Have you ever felt anxious about your future? Like you weren't smart enough or worthy enough to gain the career that you set out to get since first year? And as a result, you started to lose motivation and the self-confidence to do well in your courses. And that just made you get a bad mark and make you get even more doubtful, and then you're just caught in this constant cycle. Trust me, we've all been in a situation where something or someone or even ourselves have disappointed us or didn't meet our expectations. We want things to be a certain way, and we're inevitably disappointed that it's in fact another way. It's all because we unknowingly hold these unrealistic thoughts or beliefs about the world that end up being unhelpful and detrimental for us because of our high expectations. This is why I bring to you a self-management tool to help deal with this: cognitive behavior therapy. This involves two techniques: labeling and disputing suboptimal thoughts. What is labeling and disputing unhelpful thoughts? Let's start with suboptimal thinking, shown here as M-subs. This is basically another term for our unhelpful beliefs and assumptions in our mind that lead to outcomes that we may not have wanted in our relationships, in our work, or in our studies. Say, for example, you have the belief that failure is a sign of weakness. Sometimes this kind of thinking is motivating, but other times it's unhelpful. Say you tried really hard on the midterm, but didn't get that distinction mark, and as a result, you get sad, maybe even angry. You're like, what's the point? I'm obviously not smart enough for this course. And you start to hate the course for the rest of the term and lose the motivation to even try. This is an example of how suboptimal thoughts lead to suboptimal responses. And who would want that? If we become aware of our unhelpful thoughts that lead to our unhelpful responses, we can know how to manage it so that we can prevent suboptimal outcomes or feelings from happening the next time. So let's go back to our initial problem. You're anxious about your future because you think you're not smart enough or worthy enough to make it down this career path. First things first, be aware of the unhelpful thought. The thought, I am not smart enough. Okay, great. What's next? We need to take a step back and evaluate the nature of our unhelpful cognitive styles. We label that unhelpful thought. What kind of thought is it? Is it black and white thinking, where you believe it's either one or the other? There are no options in between. Is it catastrophizing, where you imagine only negative outcomes regardless of the evidence? Is it blaming other people without considering the other factors that led to their behavior? Or is it clinging to the notions of the musts or shoulds in the world? These are just some examples of categories that you can put your thoughts in, and all of these are unrealistic and illogical. Once you've categorized the unhelpful thought into one of them, you can begin to optimize your thinking. This is where logical disputing comes in. We find alternative points of view, challenging our unrealistic thoughts with a more balanced take on things. A study by Lamb and Gale shows that there are 100 different ways to react to one event. Surely out of that 100, there is a more rational, balanced, and evidence-based alternative thought that we can have to influence how we react to that event. So we need to purposefully replace our suboptimal thoughts with alternative thoughts that are actually evidence-based. So instead of thinking, I am not smart enough to succeed in my chosen career, try thinking of a more optimal alternative, something like, I have many strengths, and maybe this area is not one of them, and that's okay. I can succeed in many other areas and still get to where I want to be. Or something like, grades do not define me and my capabilities. These thoughts are more balanced because I'm sure you can think of past experience that support the fact that you have other strengths. If we change our thinking and truly believe in our words that have real evidence to it, it feels much better, doesn't it? Like we can take on the world. This method has even been found to be as effective as antidepressants, although it's not the only treatment, and benefits us further by helping prevent us from relapsing into depressive states. By labeling these unhelpful thoughts and disputing them by finding more optimal alternatives, we can change how we feel, and consequently, how we act in our relationships with ourselves and with others. So next time you're in a sticky situation, first, acknowledge any unhelpful thoughts that may come about, then label and categorize them, and finally start disputing them by finding alternatives to change that mindset.